Hello, and welcome to a new episode in my podcast. Let's talk about astrology. This time, in the night to Sunday, the 13th of April, we will have a fantastic full moon in the sign of Libra, which is, of course, harmony and is associated with Venus. So, this time in my full moon episode, I will talk about the planet Venus and what it means in astrology. For the full moon this time, we will have also some extraordinary constellations with a lot of planets together with the North Node in the sign of Pisces still. Mercury is going forward already since the 7th of April, so it will still stay in Pisces, but we'll leave it for the sign of Aries again. And Venus is, of course, also still in Pisces in the retrograde moment. So we will reconsider what we have in terms of relationships, because Libra, Aries, axis talks about relationships a lot. And so we will have to cluster and to clean our whole relationships on this full moon. What is not working anymore will be really not going further anymore. So we will really cut the whole relationships and friendships that are not good. At least we will balance them. We will try to clear them and to harmonize what we have in our family and relationship bonds. So let's see what this full moon has in store for us. It will take place in the night on 2/21 in the western hemisphere. So let's see what it has, and I will start next with the Venus reading for you in a little presentation, as always. Hi again. Let's start with a reading or this presentation about the planet Venus. We know in astrology it's about the influence that planets have in our lives. So I do in my astro coaching a lot of chart reading and intensely with each one session about what your chart talks about, your energy that you have when you were born and which will accompany you all your life. The next one will be very interesting about the Venus, because Venus is a personal planet. We know about astrology that it is very old and goes back more than 2000 years to the pre-Christian times, and it's coming from China, India, and Mesopotamia. In our Mediterranean atmosphere, or in the European western side of the world, we have in the Hellenism time a very hype of astrology. So astrologia comes from the Greek, which is called astron, star, and logos, lesson. So it talks about the learning and teaching about the stars in our earthly being. It combines the astronomical events and the constellations on the processes on the earth. So it was for weather ideas, how to go with agriculture and medicine. So it was talked about in the 18th century, macro and microcosm, as above, so below. In the 19th century, it got again importance with the theosophy and occultism movements. In the 20th century, we have the focus more on personal horoscopes. As today in the Western Hemisphere, in Eastern it's a little bit different. We distinguish between radix, birth chart, so to say, election or horary astrology, where we find out good moments or events to do something or to leave something behind, and synastry horoscope with relationships for groups or for people, relationships between family members or lovers or something in partnerships. So these are the three main focus we have in our personal astrology lessons and teaching and scholarships as of today. Now I start with Venus. Venus, you can see here a picture of the planet, is a terrestrial planet and its core the Earth's sister planet because it has a similar size, mass, and proximity to the Sun. So again, Venus is not that far from the Sun all the time. So that's why we have in birth charts only in the neighboring sign or in the same sign the Venus planet located. Venus is the second planet from the Sun. It is brightest natural object in Earth's night sky after the Moon. So you can see wherever you are the Venus star very clearly and brightly. Venus lies within the Earth's orbit and never appears far from the Sun as said. Most of the time, Venus is either a morning or an evening star. That means it rises in the east a little while before dawn, or it sets in the west just after dusk, depending on morning or evening, because the Venus has a cycle which moves the Venus before or after the Sun from time to time. At the moment, we have a stationing Venus. That means it is up to go forward again, and so it will go over the Sun again to become an evening star. Its proximity to the Earth has made Venus a prime target to early interplanetary exploration. It was first the planet beyond Earth visited, and by a spacecraft in 1961 by the Russian Venera 7. This is the name. And successfully landed in 1970 and transmitted some data back to Earth. Sorry. Venus mythology. We have the Roman goddess, which has seen in Roman mythology for love and beauty, desire, sex, fertility, prosperity, and victory even. The Greek counterpart is Aphrodite. You can see a very nice sculpture here of Venus in the so-called wet appearance, which is seen in the Uffizi in Italy, Florence. It's the Roman god of the heaven who was the one who gave Venus the birth. And it is very interesting that it is from this Celos Uranus with the severe genitals that it was born. Roman theology presents Venus as the yielding, watery female principle, essential to the generation and balance of life. Her male counterparts in the Roman pantheon, Vulcan and Mars, are active and fiery. We will also talk about Mars soon. Venus observes and tempers the male essence, uniting the opposites of male and female in mutual affection. So we can have, for example, Venus and Mars in a conjunction in a chart, as my chart is showing it. So this, of course, means that this is more tempered, the Mars male energy, and the Venus is not so obviously very open to their normal appearance and the normal senses. She's essentially assimilative and benign, and embraces several otherwise quite disparate functions. She can give military victory, sexual success, good fortune, and prosperity. So it's also good for business, for partnerships in business, for good commercial events, for selling and trading. So this is also very much in the sign of Venus that we have more luck in this section. In one context, she's a goddess of prostitutes as well. So the other part of the sexual Venus is said here. She can also persuade. She can also attempt to approach and to be sexually together. In another one, she turns the hearts of men and women from sexual vice to virtue. So she can also promote and promise to be more in this relationship with peace and harmony and with a good love and a long-lasting relationships. Venus in astrology is a kind of double meaning because we have two zodiac signs associated with it. And this time we have this full moon in Libra, so it talks about the Libra Venus more than the other one, which is Taurus, where we will come to in the next episodes. So Venus is, of course, very differentiated as a morning and evening star, as I said already. And here we see the symbol of the Venus and this Taurus symbol, which I created here, and Libra, which I created also on the right hand. They are very much similar with the circle, with this harmony, with more similarity to the sign of the symbol or the symbol itself. It's very similar from these two in this aspect. So we can see the approach and the closeness to these two zodiac signs. One more about this edgy double-sided Venus. We have a very famous painter in the Renaissance. He's the Italian and is called Titian. He draw a very nice picture where we can see both Venus appearance. One, which is more heavenly bound, which is the Venus Urania in airy-loving Libra. And the other is the earth-bound and very touching, very close to Earth Venus, which likes also material belongings, which is the Venus Pandemos in earth-bound Taurus. This famous painting shows how important Venus was in the earlier medieval times. And in the next time, I will do a little Venus description in all the 12 signs for you. Because it's so personal, I will try to do that for you. Now, as said, we will talk about the Venus placement in the signs. Venus is a very personal planet, so everybody has traits and attractions and attracts themselves to others with the sign they are in for the Venus planet. So we start with Venus in Aries. Venus in Aries is, of course, the female Amazon with a fairy touch in this fiery sign. So this person likes to attract what you want and with an outgoing attitude. So they will not stay passively around for attracting people or things they like. Either you flirt like hell with the interesting party, or you act in the opposite, behaving like you do not care at all in a subtle but sexy way. There will be no passive sign of when you want something or somebody. Attention is felt in the air when you interact with others. It can be super attractive or completely off because people don't like that. But the physical reaction is almost unavoidable. You are never disregarded in any way. Playing with the energy of highly charming on one side or sexually provocative on the other is your cup of tea. Let's go to the next sign from Aries, which is Taurus. Venus in Taurus is, of course, the domicile, so very strong and very attractive because Venus is associated with the sign of Taurus. So this person is full of kindness towards who you consider your tribe. That can be family or even chosen family or your company, every group you think they are yours. You try to protect close people and material belongings as well. So whatever is yours, you want to fight for in a kind but also very intentional and decisive way. it's clear for you what belongs to you. You never give doubts to anybody in that case. Material and luxury attracts you the most, and you do a lot for gaining a comfortable home. For example, you buy things which makes more comfortable in home and decorate very nicely, or you look for a good job where you have a full bank account. And overall lifestyle also is important for you as a hedonist that you are. In the opposite, you suffer from poverty when there's not enough and you cannot share and you have to give others less than you want. So if you're on your own not having enough for a living, this is a suffering which is very material, and you can really be very sad about that. And you like to live a life at the fullest, as said, because Taurus is the sign who is very much characterized by the hedonism. You have the energy to find the right work as well, because you don't put your hands in the lab and say, well, I cannot do anything. No, you are very decisive and very active into the physical world. So you want to have the right work, right friends, relationships, so all what fulfill your needs. It's all around the material world that you want to fulfill your needs. Another thing is, which can be also shadow, is give and take. Because when you give too much, or in the opposite, you take too much from others, this give and take is not in balance. That makes you also suffering, because when something is not in balance, it's of course very lopsided, and you will have no really equilibrity in the give and take in the material world, and that makes also cause some problems, and huge problems as well. When you have the Venus located in Gemini, this is a little bit different from the others, because you're more in your head about what you want to attract and how you want to attract love into your life. So the thoughts are more important, and all the head space and head work. Mostly it will work through communication, of course. And there you can also be very much attracted in a crowd of people where are diverse people talk about different topics and therefore entertain your intellect. You are so called the butterfly, the social butterfly in communities. This can be superficial sometimes, but you will always find a lot of people around you who are really attracted to what you have to tell because you know so much. But where is the one, you may ask? People are driven to you because of your interesting talk and knowledge. You can talk about just anything. As well, finding calm and restless in your head is not so easy because your mind is always triggered and interested in words and thoughts and everything that has to do with intellect. So here you will find most likely the love of your life, where you can for long term commit and feel confidence with other people. So with another. So this is your cup of tea, let's say, when you look for your love life. When you have Venus in Cancer, this is of course the moon-based, very mother-like nurturing sign. So you're a deep emotional person. Your love wants to care like a mother. So you can talk, you can act, you can care for others really in a nurturing way. You have your family as your oyster, so there you can feel relaxed and confident. This is, of course, not always the case. So when you're outside and look for new people to attract you, that may be more difficult because you need to let in people and find the genuine love, which is, of course, opening up. What is not so easy when you are so much in your own circle with your own senses and your own inner world. So you need to learn to accept what is and not what you feel that should be. That brings you more in balance with your own emotions. because you attract people who will look for somebody who cares for them, who put them out of crisis or out of different difficult feelings and different relationships, which is, of course, not so much the nurturing that is necessary for an equal love. So self-love, of course, is one key and being very important for a fulfilled love life, but also the openness to not be shy when you have others who want to learn to know you a little better and want to be a life companion, whether in business, in private life, or even a new family member. Keep that in mind, and then you will be more in balance with your Venus here in Cancer. Venus in Leo. The Leo, as you can see on the picture, is more bright and more attractive, with a really outgoing, very decorative view in terms of fashion and hair, and everything is big. They cannot do without some noise. So you are pretty attractive to your audience, really. So you want to be with a lot of people and with people who adore you, really. You know how to attract the people around you with charisma and generosity. So recognition is very important for your love. If you are not admired in one way or the other, you may not put full interest into a love relationship. But of course, this can also be very much backfiring when you don't distinguish between arrogance and vanity. In that case, because you know when you go along that only your authentic self and not the big ego is important for the real love. Nobody will look for somebody who is really broad and bright and always full with himself or herself. Of course, you know, the authentic self lies more deeply in the more inner values that you have, without doubt. So love yourself, but with a spark of self-reflection would help you. When you see how you are seen by others, you can adapt a little and you can be less bright and less vain as well. So then you can attract a lovable person and also be a lovable person. And then that will be also easy for finding a love partner in the end. Oh, how much different and loving is the Venus in the sign of Virgo. Very timid, very less broad and bright, more inside, and has really a lot of values that needs to be discovered by the other. You love in a higher duty for humans and nature and everything what is a creature on our earth, as an earth sign that you are. So you care for all creations in earth with devotion and zeal. This is the Virgo Venus placement as such. And it is lovely. But do you consider your own needs enough? When you care and analyze and balance and look for the right things, the way it needs to go in relationships, where are your own needs in the end? Do you neglect yourself a little? Could be. And you risk of being overcaring that turns your love away. Because with these kind of Venus attraction, it is very difficult to love you because you're so cool and so distinct and also very much caring and giving others. Then you overlook that people want to give you something and want to adore you and give you what you need in a way like a love partner. And they want to care for you, and you need to facilitate that a little bit from time to time. So letting people in with an open heart and trust that they care for you as much as you take care for yourself and others will be the key for you to attract a real nice and fulfilling love relationship. Let's move forward to the next sign after Virgo. We have Libra. Libra, of course, is also ruled by Venus, as I said in my previous videos for the full moon in Libra. And Venus, of course, has a very big statement here in being in Libra. Although this is not an earth sign like Taurus, but an Aries sign. So also much more in the head and in the ideal, let's say. So, as you can see in the picture, it's very much about expression. So, wearing nice, cool clothes, being with a really very fancy hair, and being with good makeup. So, everything to make a good appearance is important for Libra. And you love to seduce, of course. You are so charming and lovely, and you attract all sorts of people because you don't differentiate, because you're such a loving appearance. And furthermore, you have this diplomatic skills, beautiful and glamorous. You know how to react in each situation where you are thrown in or where you make yourself visible. So, but do you mean it really is the question? Because when you are so much with adaptation and going with the flow, what people need and want to expect from you, then you can overlook very easily your only love, right? So, what you could learn is to trust and maintain intimate relationships for more happiness in love. Because it's not always to be adaptive and search for harmony and even idealize people or a love attraction. That will not be so much the goal, because then you will be seen as somebody who is going with just everybody or everything, and that's not what you want, because you have also an authentic self and look for true love and deserve the true love that you are able to give. So this a little bit superficial, expressive kind of trait is, of course, something that could be less important when you look for the real love and committed love in your life. Oh my God. You can see in this intense view or gaze of this person in the picture what means Venus and Scorpio, right? Very much intense and very much attractive. You can be okay. So you are really looking for the true love. That is very obvious. But how can you get there, dear Scorpio? Learning when to let go and leave the scene is your turning point, because you cannot be half in love. When you have somebody who you wants to get you to be yours, then you will be 100% all in. So intensity is your dilemma as well, because it can also backfire when you get obsessive, possessive, or even envy and nasty, which can very much draw people away from you. So your fight for love is powerful, and you do not stop when you find somebody attractive and wants to have them in your life, also with some projects or achievements. It's the same with material things. But it's not if it's not adequate and successful, then it's better to back off. You will find it difficult and sometimes miss the right timing to withdraw in this case. Yes, you are a true lover and you should give your all when it comes to love. No doubt about it. And it's a very pure love as well. But you need to find the right partner who appears, and they should stay at your side, who really earn your trust and give it back in a committed love. Here we have a very flexible and also interested Venus in Sagittarius, because here this sign is for broadening the horizon and learn more as you live along. So this Venus is in love with being in love, right? It's the love at first sight, the very quickly lightened the fire, because it's a fire sign when it comes to people, or a very excellent idea, right? So you love this attraction at first sight. You love it so much that you want to ask, what can I learn from this new love interest? Well, you may dream of your big love a lot, but when it comes down to earth, you do not want to put in the effort sometimes. So, what if I look here and there and somewhere else, and if I cross the street and find some new attractive things and lovers? That's your kind of attraction, what you look for. You are the real searcher in the zodiac. But in all this, you visualize also a lot. So if you have a bit more reality and lower your high expectations of extraordinary love, then that may help to find the hearty love on the day-to-day basis. In the end of the day, you may realize that the grass is not always greener at the other side, and you may stay more also when you tame your excitement and adventurous mind, and you will smell the roses right in front of you on the street or at the side of the street, and that will be so amazing and so loving that you may to stay a little longer, dear Archer. Well, what you see here in the picture is very much what you get. Very structured, very analyzed, very cool is the Venus in Capricorn on the other side of the other signs. So it's the higher love in a more respectful and responsible way. So you may have very much high standards for your love partner and a lot of time to wait for Mr. or Mrs. Right, because Saturn, the associated sign to Capricorn, is the time lord. So you may look very distant and cool at times, but only for those who do not know you, because you can be cracked when they trust you, when you have this right appearance, and when you have seen that the person is valued and has a value, that you want to learn to know them better, which is, of course, not that many people. So your circle may be very few, but very hearted and very loving people in your vibe, in your tribe. For the ones who open up your heart, they feel in paradise, because for you, it's very clear that you devote and be loyal and committed to this person and these people you opened up to, because you check them, you analyze them, and you know they are worth within being within your tribe and being with you, spend time with you. If a love ends on the other side, you are slow. You want to give chances and another chance and look for other sides and wait a lot. But once you determined in your decision, it will never be a coming back, because it was all very well structured and very well foreseen. And so there's no need for you to engage any further. So you are also capable, when having all these traits, to live happily alone. And because you learn to enjoy your own presence and arrange in your life without any partner. In the end, this is an arrangement where you don't suffer, because you have seen it all and decide very wisely what you want in life as a love partner, or whether you want to love yourself that much that you don't need anybody because you're self-sufficient. You love to be in your crowd of people. Look at this picture. Very weird, very vibrant, and very enlightened is this woman in the picture when you have the Venus in Aquarius. You find your space for new ideas, projects, or hobbies in crowds. So you're a very social sign, although you want to be original, creative, and you love to invent. So for you, love is not so important, And it's not so important who is in your company as long as it is exciting, playful, and entertaining, very vibrant, as I said. But you may feel in groups and with this kind of attraction, sometimes like an outsider and weird with others at times, because it's something on you or in you that is not belonging really in the center of a circle or with another person. Although this is happening, you are not so much bothered by it because you are still loosely connected, and that is enough for this Venus. So the constant state could be described as, should I stay or should I go? Very vibrant, very brilliant, and very original in your love attraction. So allowing real intimacy is questioned here because sometimes you're open for it, but really very rarely. Most of the time you have this shield where it is said, sorry, we are closed. So this is not difficult for you, but for feeling real love, from time to time, you may have this idea to realize that I want to have a real intimate relationship. Then you need to put away this shop close sign and you need to open for real intimacy. When you do that from time to time, it will enrich your love life, dear Aquarius Venus. Let's come to the last sign in the zodiac circle, Venus placement in Pisces, which is very much associated with Neptune. And in the older days, Pisces is also ruled by Jupiter. So you dream of the higher love. Sometimes you are full of selfless love for everyone in the big world. So with your partner, it is not so easy because there can be two things that can happen. One is that you give up yourself and merge in your partner completely, which is, of course, opening the door for abusive and for being completely without any ego. So you forget about yourself and your self-love and self-care totally. The other side is an over-engagement in the public world. For example, let's assume you're an artist or a musician. Then you forget about a partner or yourself because you want to serve the world with your art. Both of these extremes needs to be balanced, of course, for giving you a nice life partner and also for being seen as you are in the world, because you're a person and belong also to Earth, although you might dive away most of the time in your dreamland. Taking care of yourself may be difficult at times, therefore, physically. I mean, wash, sleep, eat, drink. This can be things that are very well important, but you don't seem to feel they are important for you because you are this dreamer, this visioner, this artist, where you don't have really reality checks. But this is exactly the advice, to do more reality checks and leave the dreamland sometimes, so that you find yourself in loving relationships where other people reciprocate what you give the world and achieve and receive what others want to give you. That will be the key for a fulfilled relationship and for a good, loving life.